to an introduction to free motion quilting feet. My name is HollyAnne Knight of String & Story, and it's my job to guide you to quilt with confidence. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to a few different types of free motion quilting feet, starting with hopping feet, a ruler work foot, a glide foot, and finally a darning foot. Let's talk about when we might use each of these and the pros and cons of each. First of all, we have our hopping feet. This is the most common type of free motion quilting foot because you can usually find one to fit almost any machine. They're also very affordable. A plastic hopping foot like this might cost about $10 if you order it online. That makes it very affordable to try out free motion quilting for the first time. As you can see between these two feet, there are a couple of different types you may have. You could have a closed toe foot like both of these are. This is a plastic closed toe foot, and it also happens to be an oblong. This hopping foot has a much rounder foot at the bottom. It's still a closed toe. An open toe would have a gap between the sides of this curve. I like this foot because it's accessible, easy to install, and generally pretty reliable. It can sometimes get a little squeaky though, so maybe keep your WD-40 handy. Next up, we have a ruler work foot. This foot is specially designed to have these tall sides, so if you're working with an acrylic quilting ruler, the ruler can bump up against the foot so you can use it to guide your stitches, but it's not at any point going to allow the ruler to get underneath the needle, which would be very dangerous. You could end up with a broken needle, etc., etc. This type of foot is what you're most likely to find on something like an industrial machine like my Juki or a long arm quilting machine. Next up is a glide or spoon foot. It literally looks a bit like someone took the end of a plastic spoon, punched a hole through the middle, and put it on a sewing machine. This is a really useful foot if you're working with a foundation paper pieced quilt or a very traditional quilt that has a lot of little bitty pieces and a lot of thicker seams. It's designed to go over more smoothly so you can free motion quilt sections of your quilt that might get caught on something like a hopping foot. Finally, we have the darning foot. This is a foot that's not really designed for free motion quilting, but it can sometimes be used, so it's worth mentioning. If you're having trouble finding a foot that works for your machine, but you have access to a darning foot, this can be a good starting place. Just make sure you keep in mind though that the way darning feet are designed, if you accidentally forget to put your foot down before you drop your needle, you're more likely to hit the needle on the foot and cause a broken needle. So just keep that in mind, be a little bit more careful with the darning foot. Otherwise, it's gonna work exactly like your hopping foot. So all of these free motion quilting feet are great places to begin. Pick the one that is the most accessible and affordable for your machine, and don't let your free motion quilting foot be a barrier to entering your free motion quilting journey. Hopefully this will be useful information for knowing what kind of foot you need when. Happy quilting.